One of the most well-known musicians in the world, Jon Bon Jovi has sold more than 130 million albums as a member of his band. However, this man is more than just a collection of skills. Born with the name John Francis Bongiovi Jr. in March 1962. He spends his downtime at home with the people he loves when he's not rocking out on stage or making songs in the studio. The band Bon Jovi is well known to those who were young during the 1980s. One of the biggest rock music performers in the past was their main singer, Jon Bon Jovi. The album Slippery When Wet is simply one of the group's enduring hits, and his songs are ageless. Even if Jon Bon Jovi's path to prominence may not have been the most dramatic, he is still a living legend. While in school, Jon wasn't the most academically gifted student, but his dedication to music and singing more than made up for his lackluster marks. He occasionally skipped lessons so that he and his pals could concentrate on music-related activities. School at the very least gave Jon Bon Jovi a leg up. You should be aware that it is never too late to complete an educational program, regardless of your age. 2019 saw the awarding of an honorary Doctor of Music degree to Jon Bon Jovi by the University of Pennsylvania. He really values having this degree. You should be aware that calling him Dr. Jon Bon Jovi is acceptable if you happen to run into him in person. Kindness is one of Jon's most inspiring qualities. He donates a lot of money to charity. In order to aid the poor and homeless, he established the nonprofit Jon Bon Jovi Soul Foundation in 2006. He is undoubtedly a fantastic rock star to emulate because of his commitment to giving back. Family is important to Jon. Sometimes, people take it for granted. It was fortunate for Jon Bon Jovi because his cousin Tony Bongiovi's recording studio allowed him to hone his musical abilities. When Jon was 17, he swept floors at Tony's Power Station, a recording studio, but it all worked out when he was given the chance to learn there as a singer. Star Wars was a major news story during Jon's adolescence. It might surprise you to learn that Jon's first recorded track was a Star Wars holiday song. Miko, a record producer, visited Tony at his studio, and the latter suggested Bon Jovi record with him. As a result, R2-D2 We Wish You a Merry Christmas actually happened. Jon Bon Jovi probably wouldn't have helped Cher achieve her level of success. She had records before she began working with Jon, but when they first connected professionally in the late 1980s, her career took a turn for the better. The social benefits that Jon Bon Jovi have provided are infinite. A Bon Jovi fan who just occasionally listens to their music might not be aware of the fact that he established the Philadelphia Soul football team. But he wouldn't lead that group for very long. However, it was something to which Jon made an interesting contribution for a while. During his live performances, Jon genuinely sacrifices everything. His voice became so damaged during the tour for the Slippery When Wet record that he had to use prescription-strength steroids. It was a trying moment, but thankfully Jon and his band got it through. The record companies that passed on Jon probably felt bad about it now. He was rejected by two renowned record labels, Atlantic and Mercury. Ironically, Mercury eventually signed Jon and the band. After 32 years, he and the band quit that label. The breakup with Mercury was painful. Being acknowledged by a nation's leader as a significant achievement. In 2010, Jon was appointed to the White House Council for Community Solutions by then-President Barack Obama. It was the correct choice because of Jon's efforts with his nonprofit organization. Jon was admitted to the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2009. Among his other accomplishments was his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in both the UK and the US. Nowadays, ambitious singers can gain immediate recognition on social media platforms like YouTube. When Jon caught the interest of music lovers in his neighborhood, his path to fame began. He played in neighborhood clubs and even started two tiny bands, Atlantic City Expressway and the rest. Members of several bands were formerly close friends. The way Jon Bon Jovi interacts with the band members is really different. Jon made sure that his band was named after him and that his bandmates were employed. This was done to make business management simpler to handle. Most of Jon Bon Jovi's formative years were spent in New Jersey, but he also spends the summers with his grandparents in Pennsylvania. His mother a Marine and florist is of German and Russian background, while his father a former Marine is of Sicilian and Slovak descent. Anthony and Matthew are his two brothers. John for more than 30 years, has been wed to his devoted wife Dorothea Hurley. When John was on the New Jersey Syndicate tour in 1989, they secretly wed. Given the gritty tone of some of his music, some people would be surprised to learn that Jon Bon Jovi is one of the most giving men in rock music. He has helped to rebuild homes in Philadelphia using his foundation. He also contributed to the recording of the charity song, Everybody Hurts, to aid people impacted by the 2010 Haiti earthquake. Many families have a talent that is passed down through the years. Being a blood relative of the legendary Frank Sinatra is something Jon Bon Jovi can be proud of, if there is anything. Sincerely, we can't think of a band with a name other than Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi had intended to call the group Johnny Electric before the moniker was chosen. His friend advised using his last name since it was quite generic. After John made a few minor spelling changes, the rest is history. Jon Bon Jovi has recorded various solo songs in addition to his work with Bon Jovi. Young Guns 2's 1990 theme song was titled, Blaze of Glory. It ended up being Bon Jovi's last solo #1 single, and in 1991, it also got him a Grammy nomination. He published a book titled Soul Surfing in the year 2000. In addition, he released an album of songs that were influenced by the book's writing process. 2 solo songs were released in 2009, Lie to Me, which was included on the couple's Retreat album, and We Don't Run, which featured Lady Antebellum. When manager Doc McGee decided to come up with a one-word pseudonym for the frontman, Jon Bon Jovi, that's how he obtained his stage name in 1982. After hearing that they resembled Sheena Easton's lover Jon Bon Jovi, John and his father watched Sheena Easton on television. The band decided that this would be their new persona since they enjoyed the thought of someone mentioning them in class. Those are some facts about Jon Bon Jovi. See you in the next video.